What's up guys, Vress here with a brief overview of Summerset, the brand new Elder Scrolls Online chapter that was recently announced. For those of you who haven't been following ESO recently, it's still going strong and it easily ranks as one of the most popular MMOs currently on the market. The developers are continuing to push out content and they've stated that they have no intention of slowing down. To be fair, they seem to be putting their money where their mouth is, as Summerset will be available on PC from the 21st of May and then on consoles from the 5th of June. And that's pretty impressive because it's only been 1 year since they launched the Mmorpg chapter. In this new expansion, for the first time in Elder Scrolls history, the borders of Summerset will be open to foreigners, by decree of Queen Summerene. Though she's not exactly inviting us there for a party. Darkness looms over the home of the High Elves, and rumours of a dangerous Daedric threat are spreading. As always, it's going to fall to us to uncover this threat, and foil a plot that threatens the very existence of Tamriel. I will say this about the developers, they're very good at enticing people in with the locations that they're picking with these chapters. Firstly, they played on our nostalgia and brought us Morrowind, and now they're working with our curiosity and sense of adventure with Summerset. Anyway, let's take a look at the features that we're going to be getting with this new chapter. First and foremost, we're going to be able to explore a whole new zone known as the Summerset Isles. These isles are the ancient homeland of the High Elves, who are actually one of the playable races in ESO, otherwise known as the Altmer. But as I already mentioned, we've never been able to travel to their homeland in the past. We've already been told about 6 key areas that we're going to experience. When we first set foot in Summerset, it's going to be within the city of SHIMMERENE, otherwise known as the City of Light. Though at the time of our visit, a darkness has fallen upon the city and its citizens are in turmoil. This is where the tone for the rest of our adventures on the Isles is going to be set, and it's going to be where we first familiarise ourselves with the customs of the High Elves. It's kind of like that first awkward visit to your girlfriend's parents' house where you're not really quite sure if they're going to like you. Moving on, we have Alinor, Summerset's capital city. Alinor is a gorgeous looking place with a classic medieval high fantasy theme. Oddly, this isn't really in keeping with much of ESO's lore surrounding High Elven architecture, so some fans might be a little disappointed. The lore actually describes buildings that are almost alien-like, featuring intricate glassworks and patterns, but it's a beautiful city nonetheless. Next we have Cloudrest, a fortress built atop the peak of Etonir that again features the same high fancy gothic style architecture. This time it's in the form of what would seem to be an impregnable fortress. However, the reality is actually quite different, as Cloudrest has been compromised by an unforeseen catastrophe, and this has forced the Divine Prosecution to have to evacuate the city's populace. Then we have the Crystal Tower, which is the most sacred High Elven monument that only opens to the Sapiarch's Tower Sentinels. The Crystal Tower is actually very significant in Elder Scrolls lore. It's essentially one of a set of towers that perform the rather important role of upholding the barriers between the mortal plane and the realms of Oblivion. You know, kind of stopping the world from coming to an end, that kind of thing. You've probably already come across some of the other towers, such as the White Gold Tower in the Imperial City, if you've played any of the Elder Scrolls series before. At the apex of the Crystal Tower, it holds a powerful crystal known as Transparent Lore, though it seems to be shrouded in mystery and its use is unknown to all but the highest ranking of the Sapiarchs. If we move over to the northwestern coast of Summerset, we'll find the city of LILLANDRIL, which houses both the College of the Sapiarchs and the local chapter of the Mages Guild. These two groups are at odds with each other due to their long-standing and increasing rivalry. Again, we see that same high fantasy theme, though from what we've been shown so far, it looks like LILLANDRIL may be a little more in touch with nature. I guess we'll see when we actually get to explore the zone. Finally, you have the township of Rellenthil, which is located in the heart of Summerset. By the way, it's really weird for me to be saying Summerset all the time because it's actually a county in England that I live right next to. Anyway, the town of Rellenthil is best known for excitement and entertainment. You can take in a performance at the House of Reveries or just chill out at the local bathhouse. A welcome respite from the hardships of your adventures. The Las Vegas of Summerset if you really want to let your imagination run wild. Overall, I'd say the new zones look pretty awesome, if a little generic at times. Obviously, I haven't seen them in game at this point, but right now I'm very much looking forward to exploring them. Of course, we're not venturing into these zones just to look at the pretty buildings. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we've been granted access to the Summerset Isles for the first time in history in order to help the High Elves deal with the looming threat of the Daedra, who, if you haven't played an Elder Scrolls game before, are essentially a bunch of very naughty demons from the plains of Oblivion. We've been promised an epic main story quest that will conclude the narrative that began in the base game and continued through the Clockwork City chapter. and it's pretty unlikely that the Daedra will be the only threat that we encounter in the Summerset Isles. Navigating the politics of the different High Elf organisations will likely require almost as much effort as dealing with this demonic incursion. Personally, I've been toying with the idea of getting back into ESO for the last few weeks, and this new storyline is probably going to be the thing that seals the deal. One of the key organisations that we'll encounter in the Summerset Isles will be the Psijic Order. The Psijic Order are a secretive and mysterious group who have long called the island of Artaeum home. We've never actually been given the opportunity to join their ranks in previous Elder Scrolls titles. But interestingly, the lore says that the originators of the familiar Mages Guild came from within their ranks. The island of Artaeum actually vanished from Tamriel 350 years ago, and it's only just returned in order to allow the Psijic Order to investigate a crisis that threatens the very future of the world. As players, we're going to be able to join this ancient society and learn their ways in the form of an entirely new skill line. This line includes both active and passive abilities as well as a new ultimate ability. The skills that we've been told about so far are as follows. Time Stop is a skill that will allow you to freeze the passage of time at a specific location. If you catch your enemies within this ability, they'll be slowed and eventually frozen in place. We also have the Meditate skill, which will allow you to enter a deep meditative state, restoring health, stamina and magicka over time. And finally, there's the Undo skill, which will allow you to step backward into the past and instantly reset your health, magicka and stamina to where it was 4 seconds ago. Which, thinking about it, actually sounds pretty OP. The ability to join the Psijic Order and learn this new skill line is another key feature that's probably going to draw me back into ESO. I think it'll be particularly fun to learn more about the origins of the Mages Guild, and to get the opportunity to further unravel the reasons behind their rivalry with the Psijic Order. Now this may just be me getting overexcited by the lore elements of the game, but even if you're not into that kind of thing, then I still feel that this feature has a good amount to offer. Of course, it wouldn't be much of an expansion if we didn't see at least some new challenging PvE content. And Summerset promises to deliver this with a new set of unique world bosses, delves, public dungeons, and an all-new group challenge known as Abyssal Geysers, which I think you Americans watching actually pronounce as Geysers. The full details are unknown at this point, but this new feature will be based around defeating waves of monsters before they're able to overwhelm the mortal plane. We're also going to be seeing a new trial, which is essentially a 12-player raid for those of you who don't play ESO, and this is going to be set in the earlier mentioned city of Cloudrest. Remember when we spoke earlier about an unforeseen catastrophe that had forced the city to evacuate? Well, guess who gets the deal with Fallout? Yep, it's gonna be us. I'm really looking forward to this, as I haven't really engaged a lot with the more challenging endgame content in ESO. But now that we have a steadily growing group of players in our little community, I'm thinking about giving it a go. By the way, if you want to be part of that community, then you're very welcome to join. You'll find a Discord link in the description down below. Anyway, as you'd expect, these new challenges will come with rewards. And considering how long the High Elves have had to work on perfecting pretty much every single aspect of their existence, I'm expecting these rewards to be very sweet indeed. Speaking of perfecting the art of crafting, the Summerset chapter is going to bring with it the ability to craft your own jewellery. This will allow you to make your own rings and necklaces that will improve your character's strength in and presumably out of battle. Now, there are a couple of other things worth mentioning when it comes to Summerset. Firstly, the content is going to scale, so you'll be able to play through the story with your higher and lower level friends. This is great for those of you who are thinking about picking up the game for the first time and wanting to play with your higher level pals. I just hope they get the scaling right so that the game feels challenging for both higher and lower level players. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. Another thing worth knowing is that you can actually begin the new storyline right now. If you go to the Crown store, you'll be able to acquire the Mage's Message Stone for free. If you use this stone from within your inventory, then it will set you on a quest to help you investigate a report of a mysterious prophecy. And this is going to give you a taste of the story that you'll be experiencing in Summerset. As always, there are multiple purchase options for the game, and if you head over to the ESO website, you can pick between digital, physical, and collector's edition versions of Summerset. Prices are going to depend on the country that you live in, and we're not going to go through the options here, as it's really not my job to be selling you the game, just to keep you informed on what's up and coming in the MMO space. Once again, in terms of a launch date, Summerset will be available on the 21st of May for the PC and on the 5th of June for the Xbox One and PS4. Overall, I'm really looking forward to stepping onto the Summerset Isles and re-familiarising myself with the Elder Scrolls Online. The game is still, in my opinion, one of the best MMOs on the market, and I often find myself feeling the urge to return for major content releases. It's going to be awesome to finally visit the home of the High Elves, even if it doesn't look quite as it was originally described in the game's lore. Luckily, in my case, the style they've actually gone with aligns perfectly with my own personal taste. I will say that it's not the most feature-rich expansion I've ever seen, and perhaps that's why they build their expansions as chapters, rather than specifically using the word expansion. However, it definitely isn't the least feature-rich I've seen either. And with Morrowind only coming out last year, the speed at which they're managing to produce new content for the game is impressive. I'm most likely going to be there on launch day, and for those of you who have been flirting with the idea of trying ESO, this might just be the right time to do it. Anyway, that's enough from me. You've heard my thoughts on Summerset, and I look forward to hearing yours in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to my channel for regular content. You can expect weekly MMO, fantasy and RPG videos, as well as regular live streams on Twitch. I've also recently set up a Patreon page if you want to be extra awesome and support me on there. All links are in the description. Either way, take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.